please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Well, in a landmark move to tackle the recurring menace of bad loans, the President has signed off an ordinance to tweak the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code. The changes, which were approved by the President on Thursday, comes in with a big twist. It's not just the willful defaulters and those convicted of fraud. Defaulting promoters in general are set to lose their companies. Our colleague Ritu Singh caught up with M.S. Sahu, the chairman of Bankruptcy Board, and here is a slice of that conversation.
We are not trying to keep out any particular set of people. We are not talking about the existing promoters. We are only talking about the resolution applicants. If a resolution applicant has any NPA on any bank,
right,
or any corporate debtor,
yeah,
so that means it's not limited only to promoter. If the resolution applicant has any NPA for 1 year, he is still welcome to do it if he clears the dues before he submits the resolution plan.
But, going by, the top 25% of the NPAs where most of these accounts are NPAs for more than a year, which effectively leaves out the promoters from bidding for these companies. Now, the counter argument here is, has the government done fair by these promoters by keeping them out when some of these circumstances were beyond their control? One. Two, does it not impact the price discovery of the asset when promoters were seen to be, one of the most aggressive bidders for these assets are now kept out? So it gives somewhat of a, an easier play for the other bidders that are looking to acquire these assets.
See, the very focus of this law is maximization of value of his assets of the corporate debtor.
Yeah.
We are talking about the company should continue to exist, should prosper, should serve the country in perpetuity.
Go on and take a look at what's making national headlines this morning. Prime Minister Modi kicks off his campaign blitz in poll-bound areas of Gujarat today. The Prime Minister will start by addressing areas headed to poll in the first phase of the 9th of December elections. Addressing 4 rallies in one day, he will cover Bhuj, Saurashtra and other areas of South Gujarat. With heat rising in the battlefield of Gujarat, various top leaders from the party, including the CM and MPs, will hold continuous rallies in the state.
And as PM Modi called on people to work towards a new India on Sunday, he revived his pitch for a unified election, highlighting the monetary impact of holding elections every 4 to around 6 months. He points towards a simultaneous state centre election. He also adds that massive benefits it will bring for the exchequer. Network 18 was the first to report on the government's push in this direction.
एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण विषय केंद्र और राज्यों में एक साथ चुनाव कराने का। कुछ राजनीतिक दलों ने भी हर 4-6 महीने पर होने वाले चुनावों की वजह से देश पर जो आर्थिक बोझ पड़ रहा है उस पर चिंता जताई थी। दुनिया के कई देश हैं जहां पर चुनाव की तारीख फिक्स रहती है। इसका फायदा ये होता है कि देश हमेशा चुनाव के मोड में नहीं रहता है। पॉलिसी, प्लानिंग, प्रोसेस और उनका इंप्लीमेंटेशन ज्यादा एफिशिएंट रहता है और देश के संसाधनों पर अनावश्यक बोझ नहीं पड़ता है।
Arun Jaitley rubbishes Congress fear-mongering on GST. With GST being highlighted as one of the top concerns in the Gujarat election, Arun Jaitley, in an exclusive to Network 18, says that he has seen no worries amongst the traders of Surat with respect to GST. He further went on to emphasize that the reform tax regime will go on to make India one huge market with no barriers.
There's absolutely no fear. The Congress had inflicted on this country one of the most retrograde tax systems. We have reformed it, we have improved it. We have converted India into one big market. We've simplified the procedures. In fact, the traders were very appreciative of the fact that the government has been very responsive. They've made a few more suggestions, which we are going to positively consider.
What about tax? They're basically saying 28% is too high, Mr. Jaitley.
Well, for 55 years, they ruled this country and they had a 31% tax. That's the one we've rationalized to 18%.
The Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad expressed his dismay over quashing of the National Judicial Appointments Commission. Now, in a speech, he raised the need to fix this issue politically. He said that if the Prime Minister and his Law Minister cannot be trusted with the appointment of judges, then that was a huge question.
Meanwhile, Shivraj Singh Chauhan's cabinet has approved a bill that states death penalty for all rapists convicted of raping girls below 12 years. This comes days after an IAS aspirant was brutally raped in Bhopal. Remember, reacting strongly to the incident, CM Shivraj Chauhan had sought death penalty for rape convicts and assured to amend the law. The winter session of the Madhya Pradesh Assembly is scheduled to begin today.
Shifting to news from the sports arena then, Virat Kohli's double century has put India in a commanding position against Sri Lanka on day 3 of the Nagpur Test. The India captain scored his 5th double century of his career before being dismissed for 213 runs in the final session of the day. India eventually declared at 610 for 6 just after Rohit Sharma got to his 3rd Test century. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka lost their first wicket in the very first over and were wobbling at 21 for 1 when stumps were called on day 3.
Meanwhile, it was a disappointing day for India in badminton as PV Sindhu had to settle for the silver at Hong Kong Open. The Indian shuttler was beaten by the world number 1 21-18, 21-18 in the women's singles final.
Oh, yes.
Need to keep an eye out on the Asian markets. Well, the Kospi is down 1.5% the last time I checked. The Nikkei, remember, was trading in the green in early morning trading session. From the time we started the show, that market as well has seen some selling pressure. So it's a sea of red that we're seeing on all those Asian markets, not looking good at all. Pull up the Nikkei. Actually, the intraday chart of the Nikkei tells you the real story. It was up close to around 0.4%, around 0.5% on the back of the weakening of the yen. Now that turned around. In fact, it's corrected close to under 1% from the high point of the day. It's moving towards the low point of the day. So that's not good news. You pull up the SJX Nifty then. That was indicating a cut of around 40 points. So we'll be bracing ourselves for a start towards that 20 DMA. We'll be starting below that 10,350 odd mark in terms of the Nifty.
Okay, so that is the cue coming in from Asia. So screen of red as far as Asia is concerned. But let's see what the screen in the derivative space is showing us. Manglam joins us to tell us more. Good morning, Manglam. Over to you.
Well, you know, it's the expiry week which has begun, and on Friday the cues were fairly bullish given the moves that we saw in our market. So the inherent strength will be tested given the weakness that we're seeing across the globe, and also the status quo rating that came in on S&P. So those are the things that we'll have to work with, because the FIIs, they bought about 350 crores in index futures, increased their long exposure out there by about 53%, and that compares with 49%, which was the low of the series. The put call ratio too, that one surged to about 1.46. That compares with about 1.35, 1.2 thereabouts at the lowest point of this series. 13 long calls added, one short call covered. That was the normalized number. 4 short puts added, 1 long put unwound. So all these things are fairly bullish. So we need to see whether these guys hold their own or perhaps run for cover immediately as we see some red on the screen. The 10,400 put, that one added close to around 15 lakh shares in open interest for a premium of 50 rupees. There was a lot of writing seen on Friday's trading session. 10,350 put 2 saw some writing. The bulls felt a little uneasy as the bears felt a little uneasy as the 10,350 call as well as 10,300 call writers packed their bags and left for home. But let's see what happens in today's session. A lot of long positions were seen on Jubilant Food, nearly 41% addition in open interest.
Okay, all right, Manglam, thanks for joining in and giving us those details. That should focus then. Let's go across to Manisha Gupta. She's joining in to give us all the updates coming in from the commodities market. Hi, Manisha. Good morning.
Hi, morning. And it's the dollar index trading at a 2-month lows, which has been supportive for most of the commodities, starting right with gold prices, which are trading in the positive. It also had to do with reports on how Russia is adding gold to its reserves. also on how that Theresa May has a 10-day deadline now to come out with a proper Brexit offer, and the markets would continue to watch out this for further developments in case of prices. But not just the precious metals. If you look at the industrial metals, they have been gaining too. Remember, the iron ore prices already are up 16% in this month. We have seen the steel prices continue to gain up. They were up 4% in the previous week, and that really has led to other industrial metals also higher. So you had the likes of nickel and zinc as well gaining quite strongly in the previous week. Shanghai has opened on positive for these as well. Copper is yet another one to keep an eye on because we've seen good gains into this one. It's trading at a multi-month high, gained 4% previous week, has opened Asia today positive as well. The major reason is the weakness in US dollar. That really is binding for most of these metals trading higher. And of course, at the point that you are looking at inventories declining, the steel prices have been on the higher side. That is an added impetus for the metals to be on the stronger side today.
Okay, Manisha, thank you so much for that. But with that, it's a wrap on Power Breakfast. We leave you with the picks of our bullseye contestants for this week.
Bata, buy with a stop of 728 for targets of 795. Second pick is Jain Irrigation, buy with a stop of 110 for targets of 120. Third pick is Apollo Tire, buy with a stop of 249 for targets of 275. And fourth pick is Hexaware, buy with a stop of 319 for targets of 355.
First one is buy call on Jay Corporation with stop loss at 184, target price of 199. Second is buy call on TV18 with stop loss at 49.25, target price of 55 rupees. Third is long call on GHCL with stop loss at 271, target price of 289. Fourth and final is long call on Kolte Patil with stop loss at 329, target price of 349.
My first call today is a buy call in Brigade with stop loss below 288 for target around 330. My second pick is a buy call in Indocount Industries with stop loss below 122.5 for target of 141. My third call is a buy call in Ajanta Pharma with stop loss below 1290 for target of 1440. And my last call is a buy call in Manappuram Finance with stop loss below 102 for target around 112.